there it is. You guys wanted it recorded, so I guess.
I guess
Sorry.
we could put something out there.
Gosh,
I guess.
I apologize.
I mean, I guess we could just do it for the recording instead of just hanging out, but whatever. 439 episodes. Oh boy, it's one of those days, you know? Just kind of forget little things. Nothing major, just the recording. 439. Michael, hello.
How's it going?
I just explained.
That was in general, not just you. How is everybody out there doing?
It's too deep of a question for Tuesday. I was gonna say it's too deep of a question for 2025. Does that just apply the rest of the year?
You probably just draw that line out for the next several years, I'm guessing.
Yep.
JJ, that was JJ. Hello, JJ.
Oh, hi.
We're here. And it's time for the Topical News Podcast, where we get into everything that's happened today, especially baseball records.
You know, it's the season again. Preseason baseball has started. We're starting to get a tease of some of what the players on our favorite respective teams will look like. But I'm not actually talking about the majors with this one. I saw a record get set in a college baseball game where even more silly things are prone to happen than in the pros. George Mason University was playing a baseball team against Holy Cross, and they managed to break a record that had stood for a whopping 42 years. They scored 23 runs in a single inning.
In a half an inning.
In a half an inning, yep. Just by themselves.
What?
That's not even the most impressive part, JJ. The most impressive part is that they scored 23 runs without hitting a single triple or home run.
Yikes.
What? It's just
whole
like
lot of small ball.
Doubles? Did the other team only have half an outfield or something?
Here's the thing. I've heard of George Mason before. Wichita, Holy Cross?
You've never heard of Holy Cross?
I don't know that I know them.
I feel like Holy Cross is one of those teams that sneaks in as like the 64th team in March Madness or something.
Is Holy Cross a known sports quantity? I don't know that I know them.
They're a very tiny private university in New England, in Massachusetts, I want to say.
Okay.
But yeah, you see their name crop up every once in a while in things like baseball, or like JJ said, they get a Cinderella seed into the NCAA tournament from time to time.
Okay, so they are like a D1 school then?
They are a D1 school.
Walkover. Okay.
I think like ish, D1-ish.
A D1 adjacent.
Okay.
I've never heard of the other school though, so.
George Mason?
Yeah, where are they from?
They're from near DC, I think.
Okay.
I don't know which state, but near DC somewhere.
They're in Virginia, I think. Pretty sure they're in Virginia.
It's a bigger school. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's like a tiny. I'm pretty sure it's a big school. I've heard of it.
Yep.
Okay, so this wasn't a walkover thing.
No.
They just scored 23 runs. Wow. That won't.
It's a lot of hitting.
Yeah, I would think it would come with an asterisk if they weren't both D1 schools, you know.
How many pitchers did the other team go through?
That is a good question. I'd have to look at the box score to find that.
I think you don't change pitchers at a certain point, right?
You're just like, let's ride.
You might change one or two, but after that, the game is blown so wide open. You just you let the third baseman who pitched in high school trot out to the mound.
Yeah, I was wondering, is this pitcher tipping or something? Is that what happened? Like they just discovered something and like figured out it was always a fastball or whatever.
That's
wild, dude. That's so many hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, if without a triple and a home run, that's insane.
Yeah, I just assumed it was like a bunch of home runs in some crazy small ballpark or something.
Yeah, you see a big number like that, and you think that they're knocking them over the fence left and right, but nope, dink and dunk.
Well, I mean, it's good for them. You don't have to do anything the rest of the season. People will always remember you set a record,
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Doesn't matter really if you made it to the World Series after that. But they've also, I just looked up George Mason's scores this season. They're not doing too shabby. They might end up a team that's on the national stage. We'll see. Wow. All right. Not what I expected. But if we're going to talk big numbers, we should talk other news that just came out about teraflops and petaflops and all sorts of crazy large numbers that NVIDIA threw around on their recent releases of the RTX 50 series cards. Have you guys been following the reviews and drama of the 5070 and 5090 problems?
Mostly just the little taste that you dropped earlier.
Yeah,
JJ, what's a ROP?
Dude, like,
Gestures broadly.
no, I think the phrase is WAP. Andrew, you got it wrong. It's a song, right?
Oh yeah, sure. There's some sort of percentage of 5090s and 5070 Ti's that are missing parts of their GPU.
So the way I understood the Gamers Nexus explanation of this, it makes sense logically how this could happen. But like, this is a huge quality screw up by NVIDIA. Like, your QA process needs to be strong enough that you don't allow stuff like this to get out.
Yeah.
But essentially, like, you build this silicon, right? And only the like absolute best cards have everything on the silicon be 100% correct, right? There's little errors all over the place, but most of the time they don't matter. And in cases where they do matter, you have little, fuses, for lack of a better word, inside the silicon that you can break and then section off those parts so they don't bother anyone, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's inoperable, whatever. You just disable it and then you're good to go, right? With the rest of the stuff on the thing. But if you disable them in the wrong places and too many of the wrong places, like now they're not meeting the spec that you set, right?
Right.
Yep.
And that's what happened here. This is just bad QA on their part. Like, those pieces should have been taken out and noticed that this was a problem, and their testing isn't up to a high enough level, I guess.
And since everyone's buying everything because AI needs teraflops, if you got one of the bad ones that has 8% lower performance, you got to wait 14 weeks to get a replacement.
Oof.
Lucky if it comes that quick, even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully you didn't buy the flagship models, but maybe you don't even want to buy the highest end gamer released version ever, which is like a $600 5070.
$600 is the base price, Andrew.
Oh, I thought it was $549. My bad.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you were correct. Yeah, $549 is the base price, but the bigger models are like $800. $600 is
the
base
TIs,
stuff.
which you could lose ROPs on as well. Yeah, 550, and it's better than the last generation. How much?
Question mark.
Yeah, maybe
somewhat.
less than 30%.
Certainly less than 30%.
Yeah. What was it advertised as?
Equal to a 4090.
Ooh, swing and a miss.
Is not the case.
I mean, it's the case if you want it to operate that way for about 6 seconds.
Yeah, you turn all the frame generation stuff onto the max, and then you get the same number of frames as the 4090, except it's garbage and unplayable.
Yeah. So they tested it in certain specs where they didn't hit the VRAM max, Michael.
Okay.
But when you start to fill up the 12 gigabytes of RAM that are on a 5070, which is noticeably more than some of the units that we have now, but
Sure. Yeah.
still, you can fill up 12 gigabytes of RAM nowadays pretty quickly on a video card.
A lot of the high-end models have 16, I think. So, like, I think is the 4090 24.
The 4090 is 24. Yeah.
And then the 4080s and 70s, some of them are 16.
Yeah, exactly.
I think like the 3080 Ti that I have is 12. So 12 is not a ton in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah, it's back to a 3080 Ti because you'll fill that RAM up and then all of a sudden you've got 500 milliseconds of latency. Oops.
And for folks out there keeping score, 500 milliseconds is half a second, which is
definitely noticeable.
Basically an eternity in computer terms.
You get some pretty serious ghosting at that point. Yeah. Not a good week for NVIDIA. They also had some stock trouble with other AI programs being released that seem to use pretty old technology and old graphics cards to get pretty high-end performance. So, we don't need to get into what quote-unquote performance is with AI even.
I mean, AI is just the latest buzzword in money must go up and be spent on things that are going to somehow reshape the world despite no one needing or wanting the thing that's being pushed here.
I think, I think some comedians were saying the other day, it was like, what does AI do? Well, things that we do basically, but worse, like,
yeah.
Oh, you want to summarize that email for me and write a new email, and all of a sudden, like, the summary is completely incorrect, and then the response is even more incorrect because it's responding to a summary that's something that's incorrect. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, you can use AI to help you code, but the code will be wrong and not do what you want, and then you'll be just confused, and you won't understand how it works because you didn't write the code.
Yeah, and you won't know where to fix it because you don't know where in the code the problem is.
or how it works. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, helpful. Oh, boy. All right. Well, if we're going to worry about the world that is, or the world that is coming, maybe we should be talking about maybe like a rebirth of computing. What do you think, JJ?
Yeah. How much can I talk about this?
Are you asking for our permission to spoil the game? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, how drastic? You probably at some point in the distant future.
I would say it's on my within the next 3 years list, so I'm not too worried.
Did you play Remake, either of you?
Not yet.
I would say the amount that I have touched Remake doesn't count as don't worry about it.
Okay. Did you guys play the original Final Fantasy VII?
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah. Multiple times.
Okay. So, I talked about this game a bit before. Like, it was kind of dragging its feet. Like, it was long. The game's long, like, to be clear.
You said that it was the middle of the other game, and it was, a lot, like Michael just said, lots of mini games.
Yeah. That is all true. I will say, like, some of the mini games are quite good. Like, I really enjoyed the Chocobo Racing mini game. It's like straight up Chocobo Mario Kart, which is pretty rad.
That's a cool combo.
I would do that. I would do that as its own game.
Yeah, it was very fun. What were some of the other really good ones? The Military Parade was pretty funny, although it's not really like that complicated, but I enjoyed that one. The like soccer almost kind of one was pretty cool. It's like a shooting gallery. There's a whole mess of them. Like, it's like 15 more I probably forgot. There's so many.
Okay.
But like beyond that, there's just like a lot of game in this game. Like, if you try to do all the quests, you try to get all the relics, you try to do all the combat challenges and stuff, there is just a lot to do. The card game side quest is really long and involves playing like a ton of that card game. Which, like, honestly, that was one of the more fun parts. We're card game sickos here. I think that's known, right?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
fair.
sitting here in Steam right now, bookmarking Monster Train 2 because I forgot to the other day.
Ooh, yeah.
Good game.
Is that demo still up? I need to try that.
I'm just waiting for it to load. I'll let you know.
Yeah. So I did finally decide to, like, all right, I push past all this stuff. Like, I just admit to myself that I don't want to spend hours grinding these levels that I need to take on some of these final, like, summon bosses and stuff that were just not fun. And this is like, all right, I'm just going to push on to the end of the game. I did, and I beat it, and I can't talk to you about the ending if you guys are going to play the game.
Ah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
There's a very famous event that happens in the original game where
Yeah, that ended and changed drastically at the beginning of Remake.
No, the thing that ends at the end of Remake, right? Or
Yeah.
beginning? What does it happen? They show it at the end, right?
Yeah, I thought I've heard that they showed the thing at the end of Remake that didn't happen. That did happen.
Right. Well, something happens there's a very pivotal moment in the original game where Aerith gets killed, right? We all know about this.
Yes.
It's like the whole thing, right?
Okay.
I don't know if it did or didn't happen in this game.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. That's wonderful. It's exactly what you want from a Japanese remake of a game that was already convoluted to begin with. I'm in heaven already. Just tell me that is it.
I think Kingdom Hearts got into this game somehow.
Oh yes.
Oh, no.
Oh my god, it's getting better.
It's just so I'm not going to go read anything about it. I don't care. So anyway, yeah, it has upended my perception of what this game was because now I'm not sure what to think about it.
Oh, no.
I did hear people say when Remake came out, it was like, okay, this is definitely some sort of new game. They're making some sort of new game. And it sounds like they were right.
I agreed with them after the first one. And then you play most of this game, and that doesn't seem to be the case. And then I actually are, maybe not. I don't know.
You get to the end and...
So anyway, that game was all right. Man, I wish it was like 30 hours shorter.
I wish everything is 30 hours or less. I mean, like 30 hours shorter shouldn't even be a sentence anymore. 30 hours or less should be the only sentence.
I mean, I guess it could have been 30 hours shorter if I didn't try to do so many of the side quests and stuff.
Well, you said that that's the point of the game.
Yeah, because that's kind of the whole game. Yeah.
Okay, so then it can't be that much shorter.
It would have been less, yeah.
If I didn't do all the side quests, I think I would have been way under-leveled for the final boss because I died on it like a ton of times.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Which, shout out to them for implementing one of the greatest, like, continue point things that I feel JRPGs never remember to do, which is like...
Oh, what's that?
This is like a 15-stage boss fight or whatever.
Oh, so you can come back in the middle.
Yeah, they don't make you go all the way back to the beginning.
Well, okay, but
Awesome.
so I have a question then. Is there a way that in the middle of this 15-stage thing, you're like, I'm screwed because I used these abilities in stage 3 and now I need it in stage 10 and I can't have it, but my save is on the other side of that?
If you go back to the save, you can't save in the middle, right? So like if you load your last save, you will go to the beginning of the boss fight.
You'll be back outside of it.
I was just asking if you found yourself in the boss fight in the continue stage being like, well, I can't beat it from the continue stage because of X problem from earlier in the fight.
There were a couple of times that happened. Yeah, but there are multiple parts during the fight where they just restore your entire party's HP and but even still, like some of those phases you get caught in transitions or whatever where it's like, oh, this party is bad or whatever. So
well, I mean, okay, how many hours did you end up in it?
I don't remember. I would have to look.
That Monster Train 2 game demo is still there, just so we're all clear.
Cool.
So you can go anytime and deal with that if you'd like to. I don't know. I don't know if people want to or not, you know. JJ, this says you played 101 hours of Rebirth and you got 46 of 61 achievements.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That seems pretty
I
good.
definitely left it on sometimes, so there's like several hours of not.
This also says you're playing
there,
Civ 7.
Not right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not currently.
Yeah, I'm recording this podcast. What are you talking about?
Yeah. All right. Well, if we're talking about the classic era PlayStation stuff, we did miss something in the past couple months. I think it was over 2 months ago now. The PSP had its 20th anniversary.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dang.
I don't know if that makes you feel old or not. Yeah, it was in December, I think. The PSP had its 20th anniversary. And what was it, the 30th anniversary of PlayStation? Because they had the PS5 had a huge anniversary event, which I wanted to talk about actually, because I love the PSP. I still have my Vita. I don't know if you still have your Vita, JJ, but
yeah, I do.
PSP
Somewhere.
and the Vita were awesome. PSP less awesome because it had a UMD drive that could break, but still cool. And one of my favorite games of all time on that system is Jeanne d'Arc.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be confused with Joanna Dark.
No, that's a different system, right?
Yeah. The PS5 did a anniversary thing where you could log in on your PS5 and change your PS5 startup screen and your PS5's interface into like the classic PlayStation interfaces and startups. So like my startup was the PlayStation 1 startup and then the PlayStation 3 layout.
It's a nice
that's fun.
touch. I like that.
They did it as a limited time thing and then set everybody's PS5s back to normal when the anniversary event ended.
Boo.
Like that a lot less.
Why? What could possibly... They did extra work to take it away from people.
Yeah, that sucks.
They did put out a statement that they're going to bring it back. They were like, okay, we understood it was popular. We coded it to go away. We're gonna figure out how to bring it back. My guess is we'll bring it back for money.
Yeah, I was just about to say we'll find a way to bring it back with dollar signs.
Figure out a way as if it wasn't planned that way already.
Well, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, they're selling a limited edition 30th anniversary version of the PS5 Slim that has the gray plastic and everything, and you're like, oh, and by the way, we took away all the stuff, the like classic interface stuff. It's just so stupid. Like, here's your foot. Here's a shotgun full of buckshot. Just point it right at your foot. Like,
But
they're
also
just
they probably-
handing themselves problems.
Like, did they even make enough of those gray PS5s that anyone could get them, or is it just like?
I think you could go buy
We
one
made-
still, actually. I
we
don't
made
think they're like
50.
super popular.
Oh, okay.
I mean, everyone's got a PS5 that carried, right?
Who knows, man?
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're all sold out and I'm just crazy. But you know, it doesn't seem like the PS5 is currently breaking any sound barriers. I know they're doing the Pro for $900 or whatever right now.
Yeah, I can't. I at the point that you're paying for the Pro, it's like,
Buy a computer.
yeah, dude. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Buy a
Yeah,
computer.
yes, a computer is more than a PS5 Pro, but it has more
But-
games.
I was hearing people complaining about the upcoming. I think they leaked the price of the Switch at $400. The Switch 2 pricing.
Oh, did that leak? I didn't
Okay.
see.
Yeah, I think the price leaked 2 or 3 days ago, and likely to be around 400, which was not our hope here on this podcast.
That was my guess.
It was our guess that it would move up, but 300 was 2017 for the original Switch. I could have seen them going to 350. Did they go to 350 for the OLEDs? Maybe that is how they justify going to 400.
No, I don't think the OLEDs were 350, but I didn't buy one, so I don't know.
Well, with inflation and all that sort of stuff, you could imagine 350 pretty easily, but 400 is a little bit. I mean, I'd imagine the specs are not going to be $400 specs.
I mean,
a little bit of that Mario premium, right?
What counts as a $400 spec these days, right? Like,
that's true. That's true. I mean, maybe the inflation is worse than I think, and it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Nintendo needs to talk more about what the thing is before people get mad about whether it's worth it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not trying to rage bait at all. Here. Yeah. I very clearly I have no toe in the pond of opinion about the price currently. It just sounds like it leaked out at 400. So
I'm not trying to blame you. I'm just like, it's people get mad about everything. It's like they've revealed nothing. Like, chill.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it is worth getting mad about, but like we can't.
It really will depend for me on whether or not you plug in an old Switch 1 game to that thing and it's like, hey, all the stuttering's gone. And that for me will be like, well, seems like it was worth the price upgrade. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because the old Switches are not going to drop crazy in resale value, I would think. If you have a Switch and you're like, oh, I'm going to unload it to buy another one, I think you're going to get half the price of a new one pretty quickly and easily. I don't think they're, especially in their good shape. So,
yeah, I mean, I feel the library is just so big, and
it's
because
huge,
it's backwards compat, like, all
those games are still it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's our wish, but sometimes you make a wish and you don't get what you hope for, right, JJ?
Yeah. Speaking of PS1 games, hey, you guys know the Suikoden remasters are coming out soon, right? This week.
I was looking at that.
I didn't know that it was this week, but I did remember that it was coming out this year.
Yeah, this week. So Konami did a live stream talking about the games and showing off some of the stuff. And announcing
it's 1 and 2, right? 1 and 2 are remastered together.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And they added some like pretty cool features. Like, showing off like they added mini maps for places that never had them before. They added a timer so that you can turn off a toggle so that you can turn off a really infamous bullshit timed event quest in Suikoden 2 that basically requires you to speed run the game in order to see the whole thing.
I am one of those. Okay.
Because like the last, I forget what the exact hour counts are, but like the final event in it requires you to be at like very near the end of the game in 12 hours. And that's just not possible unless you're basically skipping everything.
So it's a second playthrough. It's like a second playthrough quest, basically.
Right. And they added a way to just disable it so the timer doesn't matter anymore, which is awesome.
That's nice. Yeah. I remember FF9 did that.
I remember that too. And that made me upset because I liked it as it was a little bit weird. The style got me a little bit, and I kind of got into it much later than other people. And then I hit that timer and I was like, what is this?
Mm-hmm. So then one of the other announcements they made was, hey, they're doing an anime based on Suikoden. I think they said it's going to follow the Suikoden 2 story made in-house by Konami, which is cool. I mean, they've never had a Suikoden anime before, so that's kind of rad.
Very cool.
Yeah. Okay. This is all good news.
Yeah. And then they announced, Andy, that they're making a new game. There's a new one.
Okay. Well, how did that come about?
They showed like some art for it. It's called Suikoden Star Leap, I think.
Okay.
They announced that
Sci-fi?
No. They announced that it's it's canonical, so it like takes place in between the time of before. So the timeline is weird because Suikoden 5 takes place like many years before 1. So, but it takes place
Okay.
sometime in between those two there, closer to 1, based on the characters they showed. And then
Oh no.
the monkey's paw curls
Oh no.
for iOS
Apple
and Android.
Arcade. Apple Arcade only. I was gonna say Apple Arcade only.
Killing me, Smalls.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they mentioned that it will have gotcha elements.
Oh, that's an even bigger
Well,
story.
there's
Why
the
did you lead with
second-
that
there's
one?
the second finger curling.
That's the whole hand just curled up on you.
Yeah.
Doesn't Suikoden have like 100 plus characters?
108, like all
Isn't
the
that like the
mainline
famous
games.
thing? 108.
Yeah. So they're gonna hit you with every character from all 4 Suikoden or 5?
Completely unclear. Who knows?
Oh god.
You can't trust marketing this early in a game for a gotcha game where they're like, oh, you totally can beat the whole game without any gotcha stuff. It's fine. Like, don't worry. It's all,
Yeah, right.
Bullshit. Yeah, no.
You know how long and hard it would be to try to beat that Octopath game without participating in gotcha? I mean, I never spent any money on it, but I really worked the system.
Yeah. So, I've kind of been disillusioned with Octopath recently, so maybe I off-ramp onto this and make this
I think you're right to do it, man. Do it. Get out of there.
But yeah, the game has to come out first, so let's...
When is it slated?
I don't know. I didn't see a date, so...
Oh, okay. All right, well...
But hey, I mean, the game they made looks good, and they said that the pre-orders have, exceeded their expectations worldwide, so... Cool.
For the remasters?
Yeah, for the remasters.
Oh, that makes sense to me. Especially because it's on some platforms like Switch and Steam that are pre-order magnets,
Yeah, and I mean, hey, maybe the anime will be sweet too. That's cool. They've never done one for that franchise before, so
sure.
But yeah,
that's cool. Man. Who's making the anime? What service will it release on?
I no idea.
Oh,
I believe they said Konami is producing it. So
Konami's making it, but it doesn't say.
Yeah, I don't know where it's
gonna go.
No,
gonna land. That's odd because usually maybe it's just getting released in Japan first because usually they announce that sort of thing and they're like, and it will be XYZ place because they usually get funding from them, right?
It sounds like it was pretty early. They pretty much had very little to show of the anime.
Oh.
They had a teaser, and that didn't even have
maybe it's
more than 10 seconds of footage.
Advertising. It could be advertising hey, we're just producing this and someone call us
trying to get someone to pick it up.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Huh. Well, I had my own you get what you wish for situation. Now, I wouldn't call it monkey's paw, but I did get through it, JJ. We watched the last episode of The Walking Dead.
I don't know why you did this to yourself.
You know what's funny is you get to the last episode of something and you can realize they wrote the ending 18 episodes before that, or 20, and they're couldn't figure out how to get there in the last 6. And so the episode before that, you could tell they were just skipping entire storylines. They had just started cutting them out because people were randomly appearing places, and you're like, how did that person get here? Where'd that person come from? How did that person, you know what I mean?
Oh, like Game of Thrones.
Yeah. People were teleporting all over the place. People were dead all of a sudden that had never been around for the last 10 episodes, stuff like that. They introduced new elements to the thing to try and ramp up the stakes, even though they didn't need to. And then midway through the final episode, you're like, this is actually starting to become very well written. It was clearly this had a lot of time to get polished. So the ending actually is more satisfying than getting there because, one, it's ending, and two, that was the part that they actually had figured out and didn't need to rush through.
So should you have just skipped and watched the last episode and then been done?
I think maybe that would have been the way to do it. That's what I'm thinking.
Since the journey was no good anyway. Like,
Yeah, why not? Why not jump to the end?
I was thinking the same thing about. I've been watching that Severance show on Apple, and up until the very most recent episode, I was like really digging it. And then all of a sudden, they started really revealing like backstory stuff on some of these characters, and you're kind of like, "Uh-oh, this is a knockoff of another show and movie I've already watched. Why have you done this to me for eight episodes already?"
people seem pretty bought in on that Severance show though. You liking it?
Again, until the most recent one where I was like, "Is this just Eternal Sunshine?" With Ben Stiller directing it, I don't know. Odd. Well, I don't have an answer to that, but at least one more show is just kind of in the ether. I think JJ, did you ever finish the most recent Dragon Game of Thrones spin-off show series?
Yeah, I'm current on that one.
Worth watching that next season? We still haven't caught up on that.
How much did you like the first one?
Mediocre.
Okay, well, it's still that story.
It's the same. Okay. I kind of didn't care if Matt Smith won or lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think. Again, there's only the two, so yeah, I don't know. If you weren't interested, I don't think it's going to do a lot to help you. But if you are, the writing didn't fall off a cliff, so
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Solidly mid.
Solid mid.
Some stuff happens, like,
Yeah, I mean, true. Yeah, stuff you can read in books. I'm not saying you know what is going to happen, but if it's well done, it could be worth watching. That kind of politics stuff can be good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I liked it well enough, I think.
Oh,
I did get to the end of the Castlevania show.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it's good. People should watch that show.
Okay, excellent. You were a little iffy on it before, but it held up to. Do you think it held up to the other seasons previous to Nocturne?
I think it was better than like the last season of that show, but maybe not as good as the first.
So if there's 4 seasons of Castlevania, 2 of them being Nocturne, you're saying season 1 and season 4 are probably the best?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Look, did the French Revolution pan out the way we think it did, or did vampires change the course of history?
I mean, it's pretty cool seeing Alucard talk to Robespierre. That was pretty cool.
Poor Robespierre.
No, I mean, they were chatting about tactics and stuff. It was not like he wasn't out to get him.
No, I know, but Robespierre gets his in the end.
Yeah, they kind of didn't really.
Historically speaking.
Yeah. This stuff isn't completely resolved by the end, as every show has to leave stuff open, right?
Fair enough. Well, if we're leaving anything open about the RTX fiascos, or people want us to really speculate on the Switch, I guess, for some reason, when is that thing? It's like in 2 weeks, right?
The Switch Direct, I think, is right at the beginning of April.
Yeah,
so it's a month.
April 5th, somewhere around
then. What's the email for that?
They can send that to podcast@weweregamers.com.
youtube.com/weweregamers.
There too. And find us on Blue Sky.
Sometime soon. I mean, we're there, but we just aren't participating. You can't make me.
I feel like that's our social media MO, isn't it?
Not wrong.